clearly this is real talk maternity leave because I put Henry down for a nap and he decided after about 30 minutes he was completely done. Usually I can get him back down for like a second portion of his nap by literally just walking around the house and holding him. Probably because I'm talking a little bit loud right now, he won't go back down, but we'll see. So I got my coffee. I just added in some peppermint mocha creamer. I had this left over. I just found it from the holidays and it expires this summer, so I want to use it up. It's almond and coconut nut pods. It's from Thrive Market, which I've been loving, especially for toddler snacks. If you have a toddler, Thrive Market is awesome. But I am gonna grab this coffee. We're gonna go, I think, maybe sit on the couch. I'm gonna hold him, see if he goes back down. If not, that's okay. But let's chat about maternity leave and how it's going. Okay, so now that we're all hanging out on the couch, I'm just gonna leave him in his swaddle. I keep a pack and play on our main floor here, right on the other side of the couch, which is so handy. I love it during the newborn phase, just to have a couple of different places to put them down to sleep that is nice and safe. But I kind of wanted to just chat about how maternity leave is going. It's a little bit different now that I have two. My first is in daycare, so it's not that different. I'm not watching both kids at the same time while I'm on maternity leave Monday through Friday during the week. But I think things are just like a little bit different the second time around, being a second time mom. So if you're a second time mom who's in the same situation, maybe you can relate. Or if you are expecting a baby and you're just like wondering what maternity leave is like, hopefully listening to this, you might get a little bit more of an insight. So I think, first coming home from the hospital, I came home and it was just me and my husband. I have family that lives away from us. They don't live in the state. My husband's family lived in the state, but they're like 45 minutes away. So they came and brought our toddler to meet Henry and then kind of left. They obviously met Henry as well and then left. So the first few days was just us as a family of four kind of figuring it out. And then my mom did come in town for, I want to say like 5 days maybe, when Henry was closer to 2 weeks old. So that was helpful to have her, but I will say the most difficult parts of the day are mornings and evenings when it's all four of us. I personally feel like the daytime when it's just the two of us is much more relaxed and calm and is less stressful. When I had one, I obviously would have said the reverse, that it was better when my husband was home because there were two people to hold the baby, two people to help out. I could have a break. Now when my husband comes home from work, I can't just be like, okay, I've been holding this baby all day. Here you go, take the baby, because now there's also a toddler, so there's two of us, and I don't get that break really. So the biggest difference is that when my husband comes home from work, I just kind of keep doing the same thing. So it's a lot of bonding time, which is awesome. I absolutely love. And I kind of want to back up just a little bit. I get 14 weeks of maternity leave, which I'm so grateful for. My work just changed their policy not long before I gave birth. And so I got to take advantage of the 14 weeks of leave, which is really nice. My last job was 12 weeks completely unpaid. So this is much better and I'm very, very grateful for it. My husband kind of can take however much he wants, but the more he takes off, the more it just kind of hurts him. So he only took 4 days off. And I gave birth right around Christmas and New Year's time, so it did line up that it wasn't as busy at work for him, so it was pretty easy for him to take off a few days, and most people, or a lot of people, aren't working as much during that Christmas to New Year's break. So that kind of worked out that he was able to stay home for a little bit, and I know everyone has different leave policies and stuff, but honestly, he would have stayed home a little bit longer if I needed him to, or his work isn't far away. He did check in the first few days and came home for lunch to see if I needed anything and to just like give me a little moment. But I felt much more confident this time around that I don't think I really needed that. So I encouraged him to go back to work and didn't really mind that much that he was only taking, 4 days or so. So I am, let's see, like about halfway through my leave, maybe a little bit more. He fell back asleep. I might just hold him so he gets a good nap. I would put him in the pack and play, but if he's happy here, I'll just keep holding him. So my days are mostly just focused on taking care of this guy. That is the main goal of maternity leave, is to take care of yourself, especially in those first few weeks, first month. There's a lot going on with your body and recovery and a lot less sleep in that first month, first few weeks. Let's be honest, there's a lot of interrupted nights even through toddlerhood, but it's really difficult in the beginning. So taking care of yourself. I'm just not a nap person. So I, with our first and with Henry, have never really taken a nap during the day. I don't know. Doesn't mean I'm not sleep deprived. I just struggle with sleeping during the day. And I guess the only other thing that I have going on is that I have a couple of YouTube channels and run an Instagram and have this like small business that I do on the side. So I am trying to be kind of productive and keep that stuff going while on maternity leave. If I just had my normal 9-to-5 job, then I wouldn't have that to think about as well. I love doing this. I think it's so much fun and I find a lot of joy from it. So if I didn't have this outlet, I think I would probably struggle more on maternity leave than I do with having something to do. I think I would have trouble with that big shift of having a really busy job. So I'm an attorney. If you don't know, I'm a full-time attorney. I work remote, but having that full-time job to just kind of sitting at home. Obviously, it's a lot of work to take care of a baby, but it's a big mental shift. This outlet for me really helps keep me motivated. It encourages me to, get up. I would say get dressed, but I'm clearly still in my pajamas right now. It's still kind of early, but it does motivate me to do something during the day. And I think that's really beneficial for me. So if there's something in your life, I guess, that keeps you moving, try and keep doing that during maternity leave to the extent that you can. My day, the way that I structure it is pretty loose. I think I just kind of follow his sleep cues. We do wake windows. So I wake up in the morning, I feed him, change his diaper. We have some playtime. I try and interact with him as much as I can. And then depending on his age, right now it's 60 to 90 minutes is about how long he can stay awake. Then I swaddle him up. In the first few weeks, I typically will do more contact naps and let him just do whatever he's doing. But once he was more like a month and a half, then we really started doing wake windows. I'll swaddle him up, try and give him proper naps, not only to teach him how to sleep in a crib, sleep in a bassinet, but also to give myself a break. It is so draining if you do every nap like this, if you do contact naps. I'm not saying don't do it, because how cute are they when you hold them, the baby snuggles? You're never gonna get those moments back, but you gotta protect yourself, protect your baby, I guess. I don't know. Teach them how to sleep, give yourself a break, and I think that really helps me. So I try my best to put him down for a nap, and then if the second half ends up as a contact nap, so be it. And basically whenever I put him down, I go into hustle mode. Sometimes I will have naps where he naps and I'll just sit on the couch right next to him. He's in the pack and play and I'm relaxing and watching TV. But most of the time I am hustling. So the first nap, I am getting myself together. This is nap number 2. So I've already I haven't gotten dressed, but I did a little bit of makeup and I, fixed my hair a bit. I got our bed made. I did eat a little bit. I hadn't had coffee yet, so we made coffee together. But during his first nap, I try and get all of those things together, maybe throw in a load of laundry, start the day off productive, because if things deteriorate from there, then I don't mind it as much, because it's like, at least I got something done. Now that I'm more than 6 weeks postpartum, I have been trying to exercise as well. I try and make a little to-do list. And the way I'm doing it on maternity leave is I make this running to-do list. If there's something that has to get done that day, I'm gonna put a little star next to it or somehow separate it out from the others. But whatever I don't get done today, it's like totally fine, no harm, no foul. I roll it over to the next day, and I just like change the title at the top of the to-do list. It might say Monday's to-do list, and I'll, let's say, finish one thing on the to-do list. Totally fine. The next day I'll just cross off the word that says Monday, and it'll say Tuesday, and now it's Tuesday's to-do list. And that's very different from the way that I do things not on maternity leave, but you really have to roll with the punches. And I think that's something that I have to keep like telling myself, is that I don't know, I'm just not going to get done as much as I usually do. And that's okay, because that's not what this is about. This is about taking care of baby and all of that bonding time and stuff. He's so cute when his little eyes like flutter and stuff. And when they start smiling in their sleep, it's just, it is so adorable. I love it. But other things that I do is, so I had a December baby, which makes it really tough, but I try to go for a walk. I also try to get out of the house. And the way that I kind of do it, because of the wake windows that we do, I like to have his naps be actually here. Again, for a couple of reasons. I want him to take his like proper naps, but also if I'm gonna be giving myself like the breaks that I want, it makes it more difficult if he falls asleep when we're out and about. And then I try and get home and try and finish off his nap, because you're transferring him from his car seat to the bassinet or trying to like get him back to sleep. It's usually not successful. Then it seems to throw off all of the cycles. And then at least I get like a little bit frustrated then, that I'm like, why did I even leave the house? It would have been so much easier just to stay in this perfect pattern. When we don't leave, it is these like beautiful cycles that go on. So I do try and time it to go for a walk or go out and do something after I have fed him. So we wake up, I feed him, change his diaper. I do like a quick tummy time, so he has a little bit of movement, especially if I'm gonna toss him in a car seat or in the stroller, and then we go, and then by the time we get back, it's time to fall asleep. And of course, if he falls asleep when we're on a walk, like lots of babies fall asleep with that movement or in the car ride, it's not a big deal, but I do try and do it at that point in the cycle. And then the last part of the day, I love to cook. So I try to make dinner pretty much every night. Sometimes we'll have leftovers, but we don't eat out very often. So pretty much every night I'm making dinner. So before my husband and son get home from work and daycare, I do my best to get dinner on the table. My toddler busts through the door and says, eat, 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 and like runs straight to the table. So, and it's actually easier to have everything on the table than preparing it while everyone's home. So oftentimes I will use the last stretch of his sleep to prep as much as I can. Anything that I need two hands to do, like chopping vegetables and stuff. A lot of things, I will admit, I do one-handed while holding him. You saw me making my coffee one-handed while holding him. But I will also, if I need to, that last bout, baby wear him. Baby wearing in general is the most useful mom hack you can have with a little one if you're trying to get stuff done. Most babies, I don't want to say all, but most babies love it. They love being close. He will nap in there for hours, and even if he's not napping, it's, I don't know, some people say it's like considered tummy time because they're on your chest. It's a great time just to not have them laying on their back. So it's good to kind of mix it up and do that, as long as you have one that, you know, has their hips in the proper position and all of that. So I try and baby wear once a day, and I save it for the evening time, because there's that whole witching hour concept where, oh my gosh, it's like they don't want to go to bed yet, but they don't really want to have another nap. So they are just fussy and can't be calmed down. Sometimes even when I'm holding him, he can't be calmed down, but the baby wearing does typically do the trick. And then I have two hands. And also, if it's seeming like he might have a short nap, and then it would work out that he would wake up right as we're having dinner, which for some reason that always seems to happen. Like they always want to wake up right as you're about to eat, and then I have to feed him at the same time as I'm trying to eat, which is very difficult. So I'll baby wear through dinner or the evening time as well. So that's pretty much my schedule on maternity leave and the logistics of it. But in terms of the emotions going on with it and my feelings around maternity leave, I will say that I absolutely love maternity leave. I remember texting my husband like a couple weeks in when I was just home with him, like, I want to have more babies because I love this time so much. I have great days. I do really like my job, but being at home with him, like, just nothing can really beat that. Even when there are frustrating days, because I'm gonna be honest, there are days that are very frustrating. He won't nap, he won't let me put him down. All I want to do is, shower. I get bath running for myself maybe, and it's all filled up. I'm like putting one toe in, and then he starts crying. There's things like that that happen that can be really frustrating, or he's spitting up all day long on me, on him, on the couch. I remember that happened with my first, and I had one day where I just completely broke down. Like, I couldn't change his outfit another time. I couldn't change my outfit another time. I was trying to clean the couch, the stairs, the floors. It was just a mess, and I had that was probably the biggest breakdown of my first maternity leave. This one, I haven't had any real breakdowns, I would say. I think I'm just used to it. And that's part of the second mom mentality. One of my friends called me, and she's about to have a baby, and she was saying, I totally forgot how many poopy diapers they're supposed to have, and how this and this, and when that's gonna happen. And I said, you know what? I forgot too. I don't really know the answer, and I don't really care. I'm monitoring him. I'm pretty much the one who's changing every single diaper, and if I don't, I still know. If my husband changes the diaper, I still know if he's changing a poopy diaper. So I have that in the back of my head, and I'll know if it's been, more than 24 hours and he hasn't pooped, and I'll be paying attention to it. But I'm not as concerned about all of those things. I have this feeling that, everything's gonna be okay. Another example of that was I had a lot more anxiety going out with my first. I kept worrying, what if he's gonna need to eat while we're out? The second I feed him, I have to get out the door so I can get back in time before it's time to feed him again. This time I'm like, you know what? If I have to feed him when we're out, that's fine. I don't love breastfeeding in public, but I'll do it if I need to. And I can always stop in a parking lot and feed him in the car. That's not that big of a deal. And I think before I thought it was a huge deal if I had to feed him when we were out and about. So I lived in these 2.5 hour chunks where I had to be home and couldn't be away from the house for more than 2.5 hours. But this time, I remember I was at the grocery store, and I think he was 3 weeks old, and one of the employees came up to me, because if you bring a newborn baby out, you get lots and lots of attention. Even now, he's 2 months old, and I get people like, oh my gosh, that is such a fresh little baby, and look at him, look at all that hair, because he has a ton of hair. But when I brought him to the grocery store when he was 3 weeks, the employee, I don't know if she was working, because it felt like she was talking to me for 15 minutes, but she was saying, I can tell he's not your first, is he? And I was like, no, how can you tell? And she said, if he was your first, you would be at home right now, which is 100% true. I think a lot of times you don't see 2 and 3 week old babies out because most people are at home with them. I completely understand if you're worried about germs, or if it's cold out and you don't want them to get sick and all of that stuff. I just wanted to get out of the house. That's the most difficult part of maternity leave for me mentally. Beyond those difficult days, the other thing that might bring me down is kind of just the loneliness of it and not having a ton of interaction. I moved here 2 years ago and still haven't made a ton of friends. I work from home. My husband has family here, but most of them are not that close by. So it's it is just me at home alone every day. And the only interaction I really get is when my husband and toddler get home, or if I call some of my friends that don't live nearby. So I need to get out of the house. And I honestly like when people like come up and say hi and, oh my gosh, that's such a cute little baby, because it's kind of a social interaction for me. Not that I'm spending a lot of time talking to strangers, but it does feel good to get out and about. So I've been trying to brainstorm things to do. I don't want to spend a bunch of money going out and going shopping every day, or like every now and then I'll go buy a coffee and that's just like our excursion for the day. But again, that gets expensive. Going for long drives is expensive. In the winter, it's hard to go for a lot of walks when it's really cold out and you have a newborn. But I need to be better about, our gym actually has like an indoor track that you can use, and I have seen people bring strollers there before. And I did ask people on Instagram what I should do. Some people said like join a mom's group, which if you are somebody who is returning to work after maternity leave, that's really difficult because you'd only be a part of this moms group for a little bit. Most moms groups are during the week, and that would solve my problem during maternity leave, but then I have to go right back to work again. So I don't know, and I probably missed the boat on that one. Library was another one that people suggested. We did use the library story times with my older one when he got a little bit older. Obviously, he's not going to get anything out of library story times, but I don't know. I think it's just difficult to find things to do, to get out and socialize. So I'm still struggling with that a little bit. You know, I break apart my grocery trips, so I go to the grocery store multiple times a week, but it might just be part of the deal that it's a little bit lonely and isolating that you are with a newborn all day. And I try to talk to him and narrate my day, so he's being exposed to language and different sounds. Not that he's gonna start talking tomorrow, but you know, you definitely don't want to sit there in silence all day long with your baby, or like watch TV and have that be the only sound they're hearing all day. All in, I think maternity leave is really what you make it, and the mentality that you have. And I have had a much better mindset this time around because of being a second-time mom and just having that confidence, but also knowing that I can get a lot of stuff done during maternity leave if I want to, and if he is cooperating and napping. But also, if I don't, it's not a big deal. And if he doesn't sleep and has trouble sleeping, at least I got to do this, and these memories will last forever. I'm already starting to get a little bit sad about maternity leave coming to a close. He is going to go to daycare right at 14 weeks when I go back to work. That's different from my first. My first, we had a nanny who came to the house, and I was working from home, so I didn't have that separation right away. I have got to get him like taking bottles better and prepared for daycare. I don't know how daycare with the newborn works, so I have to figure all of that out. I think that might be the next coffee chat that we have, is the end of maternity leave and transition to daycare, and how I'm feeling about that and how it goes. Maybe I'll do it like right as that transition happens, but I am really sad about having to send them to daycare and have this period be done, because it's just so special, that bond. Like, I'm pretty much all he knows. Of course, he knows my son and my husband, but he'll be crying even with my husband, and the second I hold him, he just like instantly calms down. I think he feels really relaxed maybe in my presence, and I love that feeling. I love the fact that he feels so comforted by me, and I feel sad that I won't be there with him all day. It's a really long time to be away from me. The longest I've been away from him is I had a dentist appointment, so probably 45 minutes. So it's gonna be a big shock for both of us, but I think that's something we'll chat about next time. More fears about it and how it's going. But I really enjoyed this quick little coffee chat about maternity leave. Hopefully it was interesting to you or helpful in some way. But I want to thank you again for joining me during these videos and subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Giving these videos a thumbs up, it means a whole lot to me, as together we make this motherhood journey sophisticated.